I'm going to make a video today, and I'm going to show you if you have a vehicle that has a different color fender. Like, let's say this particular one got smashed, and this is a black car, and of course we got the fender, it's this color. There's nothing wrong with this fender. It's got one little dent on it, but I'm not going to worry with that. But I do want it to match the other part of the car, and there's actually a process to that, and you can do it very inexpensively. Usually I prefer to paint a car the correct way, but this is also a correct way for a driver, because I'm going to do this for about 20 bucks, and I'm going to let you sit back and watch how this is done. The first step you're not going to get to catch is I took 600 grit sandpaper and an 800 grit, and I just basically took soap and water and wet sanded this down, just because if there's contaminants. Then you take some acetone, wipe it off, make sure it's nice and clean and nothing on it. Okay, that's the first step, and then you tape it off. You don't want any access going anywhere. So anyway, you're about 20 minutes into it. So I'm going to use Duplicolor. Three-step process. This is the perfect match, and this does great. This is a primer. Always use it, and the Duplicolor colors will come out right. Now, they don't have colors for every known color, but they've got most of them if you just do a little bit of searching. Black, always easy to match. Don't got to worry about anything because there's only one color black. I mean universal black. So, I've already kind of peppered this. I'm going to go ahead and finish it real quick. Then we'll move on to giving it to paint. The secret with primer is just being a little off. See, I'm about 8 inches off. And I'm going to slow down just a little bit, and you'll never drip. You should never drip with a spray can. This is baby stuff here. And all I'm trying to do is make sure that I got a nice solid cover for when my paint goes on there. That's all. I want my paint to stick. That's my biggest deal. And looks like we're going to run out of... That's okay, I've already pretty much got this done anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll take care of that little spot. Come back and join me, and I'll show you how we actually paint it. Now, I'm going to give this about an hour to dry. When it's dry, we're going to turn around and we're going to sand it with a real light grit sandpaper just to give it a smooth feel. So, stay tuned. I'll be right back with the next step. Alright, so we've let this stuff sit for about an hour. I've just been kind of getting it real nice and smooth. Try to get that right where I'm working at right there, camera, if you can get a little bit, any kind of shot on that whatsoever. You see how smooth that's coming out. See, that's why it costs an extra $7 and it's an extra hour in the process. But guys, the primer makes this whole job just come out nice. And that's really kind of the goal, isn't it? Alright, so like I said, this is just a driver, so this is not that important that this car be absolutely quote-unquote perfect. We just want it to look decent. So that's what the owner would like, so that's what we're going to give them. And like I said, this is about a $20 job. Alright, hang on, let me go grab my how about I go get my, you can tell I'm from the South, I'm going to go grip my everything. I'm going to go get my black paint. So just hang on. My next product, when you're using a solid black, they have a universal black. Anybody that sells Duplicolor, which would be all your discount auto parts stores pretty much, universal black is great because you can't get it wrong. Anyway, so how this starts, you got to give it a nice little shake. Alright, and then you're just going to dust it. That's all you really want to do. See, the key is to a nice paint job is the layers. It isn't so much as just coming in here and just dribbling paint all over it. It's just kind of got to dust it. So I do have a lot of experience painting cars, so I'm kind of translating that into spray canning, which is kind of against what I believe. But it can be done, and this is what this video is about. Here we go. Nice little dust. Dust. so now we're dusted. Pretty much most of the gray spots got a little bit of black on them. It's all good. Alright, so tune in a minute and we're going to put our first real coat on. Alright, pointing out real close, this is what it looks like after you've dusted it. So kind of show them how all this goes. So you're not really trying to do anything solid at this point. You just want like a base of something to start sticking to. Alright, and that's exactly what we're going to do next. Shaking her up again. You can't beat the color change for $7, guys. I'm cheap, but man, this is really cheap. Here we go. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do kind of a fast breeze over it, and this is just going to lay just a little bit more paint than the dusting. Now for final, when you come back for the final pass, you're just going to do it a little slower than what I'm doing right now. But you want to do it steady no matter what you do. Okay, here we go. Now this part up here is pretty important because this is what everybody's going to see. This right here is what's reflecting the most light, the top. Okay. Now I might take this opportunity. You know what? It's already gray-black in there, so who cares? Alright, so this next step, I'm going to make a pass, and then I'm going to make a second pass, but I'm going to cover 50% of what I just covered. So it'll be one pass, half, 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 and that's how you do it. And that ensures you a nice solid coat. So technically we have a little dust coat now, and now we have, quote-unquote, our first real base here. But here we go. We're going to layer down, baby, right here. That's how you knock the ugly off of them. We start down here. You see how it slowed down just a little bit? And looks like we're covering nice, guys.
Really looks good from here too.
So you really don't have to go spend $400 or $500 for a quote-unquote decent looking paint. Now you're going to have different areas right here that are drying, so now I've got to let this tack. After looking at it, it does look like I do have a light spot right here, so back up real quick. Okay. So anyway, we've got to go back over this now. We're going to put our second coat on in just a second. Except this time when we put the coat on, we're really going to slow down the measure. We're going to slow it down to where we know we've got a nice even coverage. And all you're really doing right now with just giving it the second to kind of dry, you're just giving the acetone and what have you, the stuff that's in the paint, time to dry out. Oh, the camera girl has pointed out a corner problem. There we go.
Just back from where we're viewing this, you can see those light colors a little.
Alright, so moving on along now, kiddos. Checking my lines here.
Got a little bit of a light spot here, maybe.
Alright, yeah, we'll catch that. Yeah, we'll catch it here in just a second. Alright, guys, so now we're going in for the final kill coat right here. I'm going to start at the bottom down here.
So you would say basically one can would do like a Fender. Would it do more than that, or?
One can of this right here, you're going to do a Fender and that's it.
So if, say somebody replaced their hood, how much paint would they probably need?
If you're going to do a hood, you take about 3 cans.
Still a lot cheaper than buying a new hood.
Well, yeah, but I gotta say now, if I was going to paint a hood, I would just paint it just like I normally do.
The real deal.
And the reason is because at that point it's cheaper to buy paint in bulk than it is to buy it by the can.
Makes sense.
When you're using such a small amount like a Fender here, my shop cost would be somewhere around probably between the clear, the hardeners, and blah, 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 blah. I'm probably looking at, I don't know, a couple $100. Depending on the quality of paint, of course. Of course, they do have it where you can just do a single stage paint. But of course, upon doing single stage paint, you can't really be 100% sure what the finished product is going to be like. I never, ever, 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 ever use single stage paint. It's too unforgiving.
That looks really good.
So now, as cool as this all looks like it's a black Fender. Everybody would concur. So now to make this stuff look really good, you're going to need it. And what will happen is, guys, if you don't use a clear coat, if you just said, okay, that looks good, what's going to happen is as soon as it rains, it's going to start marking it because it doesn't give it any protection. So you're going to need this clear coat to protect any kind of little paint, especially with Duplicolor, because this stuff right here doesn't, matter of fact, it doesn't really have much of a hardener in it to start with. So if you ran without a clear coat, I mean, you're pretty much just playing Russian roulette with how long it would look good. If you put the clear coat on it, she's going to last you a good while. I mean, you know, it's going to look good and it's going to stay good. You just can't use anything hard like an acetone on it because it'll really mess it up. But just regular washing and stuff, it'll be just fine. All right, we'll just give it just a second here and we'll be ready to play ball with the clear coat.